Disclaimer: 6inc does not act as a securities dealer or advisor and does not register to do so under applicable securities law. The accuracy of any statements made by individuals interviewed is not verified by 6inc. These individuals or the firms they represent are solely responsible for their statements. Nothing in this interview is a recommendation by 6inc for any securities, nor is it investment advice or a substitute for professional investment advice. All investments in securities carry risks. Everyone's investment needs are different. Investors should obtain professional advice from a registered investment dealer, advisor, or other professional third party. For a full disclaimer, please see below or at www.6.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Six Report. I'm here with Gil Lavrende, Chief Geologist of First Phosphate, to discuss the recent press release of the initial drill results of its phosphate project in Quebec, Canada. Nice to have you on, sir, and I want to start this interview off by asking you what lithium iron phosphate is actually and its uses, because it's not the same type of phosphate used in the farming industry. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. The lithium iron phosphate, that's the cathode active material that goes into the EV batteries. But phosphate is used in farming, is also used in LFP batteries. It comes out of the ground from the rocks, but it's a process that is different. Okay, the phosphate for farming is only purified to about 40%, while the phosphate that we use in lithium iron phosphate batteries has to be purified to 100% or close to 100%. So that's the main difference.
Thank you. And based off your recent press release, your team discovered 4 high-grade phosphate layers. How do these phosphate deposits typically form? And from my understanding, your project is a little more rare in nature, as it consists of a clean igneous carbonatite rock as opposed to a typical sedimentary rock, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Basically, there's 2 ways the phosphate forms. One way is deposited into the ocean floor, for many hundreds of thousands of years. And usually, in the ocean floor, there's a lot of other elements that come with it. Sometimes, very bad elements like thorium, uranium, and scandium. So this is a problem for the EV battery, LFP batteries. In our situation, our igneous phosphate, it's formed in kind of, let's say, molten rock. It's like lava, but it's deep-seated. And the lava itself, there's some areas rich in iron, titanium, and phosphate. And these, they form crystal, they crystallize. And then after that, they drop, like a grain of sand into the water. It will go down to the bottom. But these crystals, they also go down to the bottom, and they make layers for forming for 100,000 of years.
So those phosphate layers form from different times in history when lava was coming out of a volcano, I suppose?
Well, in fact, this lava, this molten rock, doesn't come out from the volcano. It sits in the ground. It doesn't erupt on surface. So it's cooling there for 100,000 of years. In our case, it's about 1 billion years ago. And so they formed there for a long period. That's why we have very thick, layers of phosphate in our area in particular.
And your initial findings show grades of 7.8% to 10.6% phosphate. Did these results meet your team's expectations?
Yeah, absolutely. Last summer and last fall, we did some surface reconnaissance and sampling. And many of our samples were in that range, 8 to up to 20% phosphate. So, but these were like chosen samples, so it doesn't really represent the grade of what we have. So that's why we need to drill to have a more continuous sampling and have the effective grade on the ground. So right now, from 8-10%. That's what we've got underground, and the same type of rock that we found in the drilling is what we found on surface. So we're just confirming our previous findings.
Okay, thank you. And how does that stack up to comparable projects? Like, if you could please actually share any comparable projects so investors and speculators can refer to them and do their own further due diligence on this rather niche market.
Okay. Well, there are not that many igneous phosphate deposits, but if we look at Quebec, what we can have the Lac Apol deposit, which is from Marianne, that's 7% phosphate, but it's 250 kilometers north of us. So the Minarno is in the Sept-Îles area. It's about 4%, and but it's close to the to Sept-Îles and the deep sea port. The La Carignade, this is another project that Phosphate is working on. First Phosphate is working on. That's about 5.2% phosphate. It's about 100 kilometers north of this project we're working on right now. The Bourget deposit is a small deposit. It's about 30 kilometers south of us, and it's 10%. So and it's the same formation that our project at Bégin-Lamarche. So we think the project is kind of higher grade than these other projects, and the beauty of it is that it's right in the middle of already constructed infrastructures. Paved road close to the port of Saguenay. So it's well located and seems to be richer than the other projects in Quebec.
Perfect. So, what can people expect in terms of an exploration program from First Phosphate in 2023? What's the strategy?
Right now, we're finishing our 4,000-meter drill program that we started in February. Then we're going to take some time to analyze the results and plan, the next the follow-up drilling later in May. One thing is that in this maybe in a month or so, it's going to be the breakup period. So it's more difficult to work, even though we will be able to work on our property. But we want to take like a little rest to think about the next step. So next step should be another drill program, maybe 5,000 to 10,000 meter to bring the property to a resource estimate, or even maybe a preliminary assessment economic work.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And if you want to learn more about First Phosphate, you can go to firstphosphate.com. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.